Level 1. Basij Recruit. You are nobody. One of millions. You joined at 16 in a neighborhood mosque outside Tehran. The cleric who recruited you said it was your religious duty. He said the revolution needed defenders. He said there would be a small stipend, access to food subsidies, and priority for university admission. He didn't mention the rest. Your job right now is to stand on a street corner in the cold and watch. That's it. Watch who walks by, watch who doesn't cover their hair properly, watch who looks at their phone the wrong way. Report anything that feels wrong to your supervisor. You don't have a weapon yet. You don't have a rank. You have a green uniform, a cheap radio, and a laminated card that says you belong to the Basij, the Resistance Mobilization Force. There are somewhere between 5 and 20 million of you, depending on who's counting. Most of you have never done anything more than march at a state rally or wave a flag at a funeral for a martyr you never met. But when the protests come, and they always come, you'll be handed a baton and told where to stand. The man next to you will be just as scared as you are. Neither of you will say so. You signed up because it helped your family, because the mosque said it was right, because in this system, being inside the tent is safer than standing outside it. This is your life now. For now. Level 2. Basij Block Commander. You know every family on your street by name. That's the job. Your territory is a few city blocks, maybe a neighborhood. You report to the local Basij station. You're the eyes on the ground. Who is attending Friday prayers? Who isn't? Who has too many young people over on a Thursday night? You didn't get here by fighting. You got here by being reliable, by showing up, by proving you could be trusted with small things before they gave you anything bigger. You have a handful of volunteers under you. Some of them believe deeply. Some of them are just here for the benefits, cheaper groceries, a small salary, connections. You don't ask which is which. It doesn't matter as long as they show up. When protests broke out in your district, you were the one calling in locations. You were the one identifying faces in the crowd. You didn't swing the baton yourself. You just made sure the right people knew where to swing theirs. The clerics at the local mosque know your name. The IRGC officer who oversees your district knows your name. That's how it starts, someone knowing your name. You sleep fine at night. You tell yourself you're protecting the revolution. Mostly, you're protecting your family's place inside a system that has very little patience for those who fall outside it. Level 3. IRGC Junior Officer. You pass the tests, the ideological screening, the physical fitness evaluation, the background check on your entire family going back 2 generations. You attended the Officer Academy and you studied Khamenei's writings as seriously as you studied military tactics. In this institution, there is no difference between the two. You are now a lieutenant in the Islamic Revolutionary Corps, not the regular army. The regular army defends borders. You defend the revolution. Those are not the same thing. You command a small unit. Your men are loyal to you, to the Corps, to the supreme leader, in that order, or maybe all at once. It's hard to separate them. You've run drills, managed equipment, and sat in political education sessions where the instructor spoke for 2 hours about the enemies of Islam and the great Satan. You have not seen real combat yet, but you've been close. You've been deployed for internal crowd control during protests. You stood in a line while people on the other side threw rocks and screamed things that could get them arrested. You held the line. Your commander told you afterward that you did well. What you've learned already, the IRGC is not just a military force. It runs construction companies, import businesses, port operations, entire industries. There is no clean line here between soldier and businessman. The Corps is a state within the state, and you are now inside it.
Level 4. IRGC Senior Commander. You've been doing this for 20 years. You've served in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iraq, not always in uniform, sometimes as an advisor, sometimes as something that doesn't have an official name. You've met with Hezbollah commanders, with Iraqi militia leaders, with Yemeni Houthi officers. You've sat in rooms where decisions were made that later appeared on the news as anonymous explosions and unnamed operations. You command thousands of men across a regional theater. Your orders don't come from the president. They don't come from the parliament. They come from the Supreme Leader's office, filtered through the IRGC High Command. The elected government is told afterward, sometimes. The regular Iranian army exists. You're polite to their generals at official functions, but everyone in that room knows where the real power lives. The IRGC controls the ballistic missiles. The IRGC runs the proxy networks. The IRGC decides when and whether Iran actually fights. Your name is not in newspapers. That is by design. The men who run operations like yours are not supposed to have famous names. Until they do. Until something goes wrong or something goes very right, and suddenly the world knows who you are. You've buried subordinates who became famous the wrong way. Drone strikes, mostly. You attended the funerals. The state called them martyrs. You called them friends. You keep your profile low and your network wide. That is how you have survived this long.
Level 5. Guardian Council Member. You are a jurist. You have spent decades studying Islamic law, and now you sit on a 12-man council that is arguably more powerful than the parliament it supervises. Every law the Iranian parliament passes crosses your desk. You read it not for policy, but for ideological compliance. Does this accord with Islamic law? Does this accord with the Constitution? Those two questions in this system are the same question. If you decide the answer is no, the law dies. The parliament can object, they can negotiate, but they cannot override you. You are not elected by the people. 6 of your colleagues were appointed directly by the Supreme Leader. The other 6 were nominated by the Judiciary, which is itself appointed by the Supreme Leader. You see how this works. Your other function is perhaps even more consequential. Every person who wants to run for president, for parliament, for any significant office, their name comes to you first. You review their background, their beliefs, their loyalty to the system. You decide who the people are allowed to choose from. Iran holds elections. That part is real, but the field of candidates is yours to draw. A reformist who goes too far disappears from the ballot. A politician who questions the Supreme Leader's authority finds his credentials suddenly insufficient. It is an elegant mechanism. The people vote. They simply vote from a list you have approved. You are not cruel about it. You are systematic. There is a difference. The Supreme Leader appointed your colleagues. He did not appoint you directly, but the judiciary that nominated you serves at his pleasure, and you have never once ruled against his expressed wishes. That is not coincidence. That is the system working exactly as designed. Level 6. Head of the Judiciary. You sit at the top of one of the 3 pillars of Iranian power, not the elected pillar, but one of the real ones. As head of the judiciary, you control all the courts in the country, the revolutionary courts that try political dissidents, the special clerical court that disciplines members of the clergy who step out of line, the judges who decide whether protesters get 5 years or 15. All of it runs through your office. You were appointed by the Supreme Leader for a 5-year term. You will serve that term and likely another. You do not answer to the president. You do not answer to parliament. You answer to one man. Or perhaps you are the IRGC commander-in-chief, the head of the most powerful military and economic force in the country. 100,000 elite soldiers, ballistic missiles, proxy armies across the region, billions of dollars in business interests. You coordinate the Quds Force, which projects Iranian power far beyond its borders through allied militias and foreign operations. The Americans have put you on sanctions lists. Several of your predecessors were killed by people trying to decapitate the organization. You are aware of this every day.
Both of these positions share one thing: the supreme leader picked you personally. Your authority flows from him. Your tenure depends on his continued confidence. You are powerful, genuinely, enormously powerful, but you are not beyond reach. You've watched others at this level fall, suddenly, quietly, officially. You serve because you believe, or because you are too deep inside to leave. By now, those two things feel the same. Level 7. President. Your face is on the news. The world knows your name. Foreign ministers take your calls. And yet, you are the most visible face of a system you do not fully control. You were elected, or rather you were selected from a pre-approved list of candidates and then elected. The Guardian Council reviewed your file before your name appeared on any ballot. The Supreme Leader did not endorse you publicly, but you would not be standing here if he found you unacceptable. You run the executive branch, you manage the cabinet, you present budgets, negotiate trade deals, speak at the United Nations. On matters of diplomacy and the economy, you have real influence. When you push for nuclear negotiations, the world watches. When you pull back, the world adjusts. But the military does not report to you. The IRGC does not report to you. The Judiciary does not report to you. The intelligence services do not report to you. The state broadcasting network does not report to you. The Supreme Leader controls all of those, directly or through appointees. Reformist presidents have discovered this the hard way. They campaign on change. They arrive in office. They find the doors that are locked and learn quickly which keys they will never be given. You manage a country of 90 million people, a struggling economy, international sanctions, and internal unrest, with one hand tied behind your back and everyone watching to see if you notice. You make the best of it. You tell yourself that you are doing what you can within the system. Maybe you are. Maybe that is enough. You will serve 4 years, possibly 8. Then you will leave. The Supreme Leader will remain. Level 8. Supreme Leader. There is no one above you. That is the first thing, and in some ways the only thing. You are the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Rahbar, commander of all armed forces, appointer of the judiciary, overseer of state media, final authority on all matters of governance, foreign policy, war, and peace. The Constitution says power flows from God, through Islamic jurisprudence, through you. That is not metaphor. That is the operating theory of this entire
State, you did not inherit this. You were chosen by the Assembly of Experts in 1989 when the founder died and the revolution needed a vessel to carry forward. You had been president,